We've been talking about on these Sunday nights some of our all things new and looking towards the future, and we've talked about our facilities and different parts of our building and being able to utilize our space the most efficiently and being able to upgrade and update some of our space as well. We also talked about strategies to reach children and teenagers and young adults and some of the changes that we'll make, that we'll see some of those changes in Sunday school, and we'll see some of those changes in what we're talking about tonight. Tonight, I want to talk to you about personnel. By that, I mean our staff, but I also mean our volunteers. When you begin to combine both our staff and our volunteers, we have some of the greatest workers that I have ever had the privilege of working with in any church. The folks who work hard, and they work diligently, and they put everything that they have into it. And I want you to know that I'm grateful for that. Most of those folks will never see their name written in the bulletin. Most of those will never have themselves patted on the back. They'll never get the applause that they deserve, but you need to know that there are people who work diligently both behind the scenes and in the forefront of those scenes that really help to make Britt David what we are, and I'm grateful for every one of those. I want to introduce you tonight to a brand new staff member that we have. You say, well, I missed that meeting. We didn't vote on a staff member. That's because this is not a paid staff member. This is the best kind of staff member. It's a volunteer staff member. And so when they say, I want to do, then we say, we'll make you a spot. And so you know that Jim Slaughter retired from his work with Habitat for Humanity and survived about a month and said, I need something to do. His gift is in administration, and so we began to look at some of the needs that we have as a church. And so Jim Slaughter is now our new office administrator. And I'm very glad and very thankful to have him. He begins tomorrow. And I've already told him that begins. I already have project number 1 for him already, and it's ready to go. So I'm super excited about him doing those things. Just to kind of briefly let you know what he's going to be doing. He's going to serve primarily as a sort of a liaison person, a resource person between our staff, our admin committee, and our personnel committee. And so his involvement is going to overlap in all of those in certain ways in helping us think about our staff and how to best utilize us. Are we where we need to be, and are we doing best what we need to do, and how do you evaluate those things? We're going to look at all of those, and then how does the staff interact with the administration committee and with the personnel committee? And then with that personnel committee, being able to look at what are our processes and what are our records. You know, for the most part, our records, Teresa works in human resources and would cringe if she came and looked at how we do our human resources. And so he's going to help us with that and get us to where we really need to be with record keeping and all of those sorts of things, and making recommendations back to the personnel committee as well. With the administration committee, he has served on that already. He'll go as an ex officio member of each one of those committees. But as he's served on there, he's already done that diligently for us. And one of the things that's been his strong suit is being able to look at our past and see where we have been and what our giving has been like, being able to navigate what some of those trends look like, and then be able to project and say, you know, this is how the giving has been, this is what we can expect it to be, and so let's make some good, clean decisions along the way. That has been incredibly helpful. I know it has been to our committee, and it has been to me, and I'm very thankful to him for that, and he's going to continue to serve in that way. But there's some special projects that I have asked him to take hold of, and some of those are projects that I want to talk to you about specifically next week, and I want to save those for next week. But just to let you know that there's some projects in the works that have been in the works. Some of those have been in the works for years, but we just never have had the time or the personnel really to be able to devote to those projects. And now with him coming on board, we'll be able to do that, and I'm very grateful for that. So thank you, Jim. Looking forward to putting you through the ringer starting tomorrow. That should be good. Today, I mentioned to you this morning that we had a special guest with us today. We've been talking for the last several months now about a children's minister or potential children's minister. And so we've been in the looks for someone that could serve on the same kind of level in a part-time bivocational level like Alan serves and like Lee serves with our youth, trying to find somebody who can do that more on the children's level. And really to help specifically our kids' praise to be more like, if you can imagine what Vacation Bible School worship rallies are like. Looking at children's church to be that consistently every single week. And the truth of the matter is that Sharon gives 100% effort over there, and that sister needs some help. And so we're looking for help for her primarily. Anyway, we had somebody that was here with us today. They've been with us now for 3 weeks in a row. Once just kind of visiting church itself, last week visiting and observing, and this week kind of taking on. That's why the children were in there for the entire hour today. And we'll talk some more to him and just see where he feels like God's calling is, what the fit is. Is that something then that we want to bring to you as a church? And because that's a ministerial staff position, we would indeed bring that to church and let the personnel committee do that if that's their choosing, and do that in the right time. But I want you to know that that's something that's in the works, and hopefully we'll be able to move in that direction pretty quickly, it may seem like. Let's talk about music for a moment. Mark does a fantastic job for us, and I am so grateful for his leadership and where he's been. He is super sensitive to the needs of our church and where we are as a church and kind of where we've come from. And so you've noticed, that really we still are. For the most part, we're still traditional. He just has kind of stepped it up, doing using the guitar as a primary instrument, and then doing what Mark does, And so what we've asked Mark to do is now to just we're trying to give him a little bit of a push, just push him a little bit. So this is an area where you can help me tonight. You can help me by helping Mark at this point. When I tell Mark, I want you to push that a little bit further. I want us to do I want us to continue with the hymns, but I also want us to do some music that will reach some of our younger folks. We need to reach them, don't we? Yes. Absolutely. And so that we need to not always do music for who we've always been. We also need to do music for who we need to be. He needs your permission. He does. He would never say that, but that's exactly right. He needs for you to be able to say, Mark, we want you to do whatever you think is best for our church. He's not here tonight, so you can't say that to him. But he's going to watch this. And what I'd ask you to do is, if you're in agreement with that, just by acclamation, just to let him know that it's okay for him to do whatever he feels like God wants him to do. With that, on September 10th, you're going to see a little bit of a new look up here, and that is his guitar will still be there. Terry's playing is still going to be there, but we've invited some others to come and join us, not just on special occasions, but to join us now on a regular basis. So what you should begin to see are more and more instruments that are here that really help enhance our music and make it even more vibrant and more lively. And I'm really looking forward to that, and so you should see that here in the next couple of weeks. That'll be fun. When we've talked some about our youth, and we're going to talk some more about that. I'm grateful for what both Alan and Lee do with our youth. They have a tremendous job of trying to reach primarily not just our kids that have grown up here, but to reach kids that come from the neighborhood that do not have parental ties here. And you see that. You see that with them not being here on Sunday morning, oftentimes not being here on Sunday night. But I would invite you on some Wednesday night to sneak down there to the Rock and go back there to the back to where the teenagers meet, and you're going to say, what church am I at? It's a different breed down there. And they're reaching kids, and I'm very grateful. And you got to see some of that this morning as we baptized 2 of those kids today. What a great time together. But listen, it's not just our staff that does a good job. It's our volunteers. You know, without volunteers, churches just don't make it. And you serve in a variety of ways. Now, the reality is that you probably serve in more areas than you should. And not because you're not capable, but it's because other people won't step up and do. There's plenty of places for people to be involved, but there's also plenty of people to be involved. And if we would spread that out just a little bit more, and people begin to do and emphasize that one thing that they do and to do it well, I believe our church will be blessed by that. I say that to say this. It's nominating committee time. And as that nominating committee comes and they begin to pray and they begin to seek the heart of the Lord and the heart of the church and to say who should serve in these particular areas, they come up with a list of names, and they'll come to some of you and say, hey, will you serve in such and such a capacity? You know, you've got your own reasons, and you say whatever you want to say. But I encourage you to say yes. I encourage you to say yes before they ever tell you what it is. That's the way that we do it with the Lord. To simply say, God, you tell me what you want me to do and I'll do it. We ought to be able to tell the nominating committee, you put my name wherever you want it to be and then I'll do it. The key to that, though, is not just saying yes, but is also fulfilling that obligation and filling it all the way to its term, doing what you've said that you would do and doing it as if you're doing that to the Lord. It'll make a difference in our church. You see, we can talk about finances and we can talk about buildings and we can talk about gifts. We can talk about all of that stuff. And that's good, and all of that stuff is necessary. But it's the people who are the resource that really makes the church what it is. Britt David is not a great church because of our building. Britt David's not a great church because of our van. And it's not a great church because of our programs. It's not a great church because we got a golf cart now. Ooh. Britt David is a great church because of you. The born-again believers who gather together here and worship and serve. That's what makes it great. So what I'm asking you is to give of yourself, to give yourself, and then to also give of yourself. All of these things do take resources. And you've read enough in those newsletters to know kind of where we are, and I encourage you to give. Now listen, that thing with the newsletter had particularly to do with our budget. If you want to give to that budget and you want to give that tonight, then you've got to mark that on your offering envelope. You know, you got to put that in an offering envelope and you got to mark it that you want that to go into that budget account, because if it doesn't, then everything that we receive on Sunday nights that's unmarked, or everything that is marked, I have an envelope and I put ministry renovation fund on it, because that's what I want it to go to. And that's stuff that we can use to enhance our building or to do whatever it is that we need to do. And I appreciate you responding to that and giving, and I want you to give tonight too. So Jimmy, now if y'all are ready, let's receive our offering.